Hello everyone, Ken here, and today we're going over the Coda Motovore. I actually like this thing. It does millions of damage, and yes, this is a slam build. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it's a slam build. It is. That's just how it's gonna be. But regardless, it does millions of damage, and Eleanor today is selling a 60%, so I would go ahead and pick that up anyways, even if you end up not liking the weapon. So you can get this for 10 hard cells at Eleanor, and you know, this thing is pretty good for not modding for elemental damage. So first let's go over a just normal config. We have for our unique trait that it receives 6 times physical damage. So like your slash mods, your puncture mods, and your impact mods are going to get 6 times of what they normally would. And then based on what you have on your actual Motovore, if you have impact, you get plus 40 attack speed. If you have puncture, you get plus 1.5 meters of range. And if you have slash, you get plus 100% status chance. And I actually haven't tested that if it's 100% base status chance or if that's 100% status chance that's like going off of the status you already have. So we have 30 here, it would go to 60. So I haven't actually tested it, but I just wanted to go with an impact build, see how much raw damage I could do. So for our base stats, we have 25% crit chance, which is okay, and then we have 3.5%, 3.5 times critical multiplier, which is pretty high actually. And then our impact is 233, and this is why I went with impact because it's the highest. And then we have our puncture and our slash, which are at 83.3, and our heavy attack down here. So let's actually get into the build. What I decided to go with is impact, like I was saying, and you can see I have 109,000 slam damage, and this is just for a normal slam. For a heavy attack slam, I have 163,000, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I am running a melee retaliation to give me even more damage. And it does millions of damage without any elementals. You gotta think about that. So we have prime pressure point for melee damage, galvanized steel for crit chance and crit damage, amalgam organ shatter for crit damage, heavy attack windup speed, blood rush for more crit chance because it's pretty low on crit chance. And then here's where the unique trait comes in is primed heavy trauma and primed heavy trauma, sorry. And this is the only prime physical mod, and this is also why I chose impact. And you can see I get 990% more impact and almost 1,000, which is insane. We have seismic wave just to increase our slam damage a little bit more, galvanized reflex, and this is for initial combo and heavy attack efficiency. For this build, we only have 50% efficiency. So what this means is whenever you slam down on the ground, I'm gonna have around 80, I believe it's 81 stacks, and then that's a 5 times multiplier. So whenever I slam on the ground, it's gonna go down to, I would say, yeah, 40, and then it will have to build back up over about 3-ish seconds, 3 to 2 seconds. So when you try to slam again immediately, you'll hit like maybe yellow crits because of blood rush. You don't have as many stacks. So that's the only downside to this. You might have to wait, but you don't have to wait to slam. You really don't. You can still hit millions of damage, but if you do wait, you'll probably be hitting in the 10 millions range. And then we have collision force, which just gives us more impact, which is insane because we have basically 3, raw damage mods. Well, 4 if you count melee retaliation. And what melee retaliation does is for every 200 shield that you have, you get a 30% damage increase, and it stacks up to 420. So on my Nova here, you can see that I have only 1,000 shield. So you don't need to go crazy with the shield. It's really not that big of a deal, but it just gives you more damage. And I didn't see a point of running anything else, but feel free to run exposure or, whatever your heart desires. But for me, I just personally did retaliation. And of course, you can choose a frame with more shield, like Mag or like Zephyr that has like 2,000 shield. Nothing against that. So I wish I could get into the build right here, that would be great. But whenever I try to slam against these guys, it's just kind of. But you can see I don't have any stacks, and level 230 gunner almost got him down to half. So we will be going into a conjunction survival just for me to test this out, and I will see you guys in the conjunction survival. So here we are in the conjunction survival, and look at that. Wow. Okay, they're just dead like that. Is it steel path? Like, whoa. Those guys are usually a little tough to kill with no stacks, but just one shots, you know? At least for me anyways. But I actually really like this um, melee. It's actually a great melee. I know it's a slam build, and you could just run Magistar and Karnan, but the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is not a lot of people. I mean, this just came out, so I won't say a lot of people. But the thing that I noticed that some people don't realize is that um, you could put a ribbon on this and it can have plus impact. So then you're gonna get even more damage, and then you could put melee damage on, or not put, but you could have melee damage on your ribbon, and that would give it even more damage. So honestly, I think there's uh, you know, this the sky's the limit with this, and especially with the impact doing so much damage and you being able to roll for impact and also melee damage at the same time. And for your third slot, I guess you could put whatever you want. You could go for a crit chance because it's low on crit chance, and as you can see these yellow crits that I'm hitting, there's a 25 mil right there, but those orange crits I just hit a 34 mil. So very good. I would put this at I don't know. Would have to see, but it doesn't have the range of the Magistar, of course, but I think it's almost in there in damage with Magistar. But that's just me being kind of generous because it, doesn't have a ribbon or anything yet, but it could be in there in damage with Magistar if you get plus impact and plus melee damage. So honestly, after using this, I think I'm going to go ahead and get a ribbon for it because I actually really like this thing. And hopefully they don't touch slams too hard. That that'd be great because I'll definitely enjoy this thing if nobody else wants to, because I haven't seen a lot of people bring love to it. But it's definitely a great melee for slam, and you don't have to run slam like I was saying. You can run it as a normal. I've seen some normal builds that are, pretty good, but I personally haven't made one. And I might go back over this weapon after a slam nerf, which will be the next big update. So you have time to have fun with this if you want to. But it's just cool seeing all the millions of damage with not that much investment, especially with not having elementals. And I think that's a really big thing that people might miss out on is no, not having elementals and doing millions of damage is mm, kind of unheard of, honestly. It's kind of unheard of, and that's because like corrosive and stuff strips armor, and um, like it increases your damage as well, and then viral it debuffs the enemy up to 300% with 10 stacks. So I think that's definitely something that you got to take into account, and you could get a ribbon with electricity and toxin if you want to, and try that out. So there's a lot of possibilities with this already doing millions of damage right out the gate. But I also forgot to mention is that these little like you see these little rocks that are around my Motovore, those actually change with what you choose. So with puncture they'll be kind of like spikes, and then with slash they'll be more like narrow and have like a point to them. So I thought that was pretty cool. I know it's probably been mentioned over 1,000 times, but you know, some people might not know. But it's definitely cool. I like that little touch that they do to weapons. And here comes the Acolyte. So this Acolyte's going to absolutely get destroyed, and it's insane. You don't even have to try. Like he's just dead. It's great for Acolytes. It really is. It from my testing, the Magistar does about that same damage. So I really do think the Magistar has a competitor here with this build, and it's not even in Karnan. This is a 60%. I didn't say that, but it is a 60% because she is selling a 60% electricity, and I just went ahead and leveled it up to 40, and you can actually get a elemental vice, and that changes the element, or you can change it to whatever you want as many times as you want. So I just changed it to impact, and got that massive impact, you know, buff to my damage. But honestly, feel free to try out the slash because the slash seems like it'd be pretty good, or even the puncture. I haven't tried those out, but I just immediately went to impact because I was like, this thing's gonna be insane with prime, and then well primed heavy trauma, and then also being able to have impact because you can't have puncture and slash on it, just as a base physical damage, but you can have impact. So I would say this is a 9 out of 10 because I would only give it a 9 out of 10 because it doesn't have, the range, like the slam range. But I would say it's a 9 out of 10. It does a lot of damage. It's great. It's pretty fun. I love slam builds, so it's great for me. But if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe. I will be going over more of these Coda weapons, more builds that come out, and making, builds of my own. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video over the Coda Motovore, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.